So the Marvel Luke Cage series finally premiered on Netflix, and today that's what we're going to talk about, episode 1. Hey guys, Daniel here with HGN, and today we're going to be talking about Marvel's Netflix's Luke Cage. Now before we go any further, I do have to remind you that I am going to be talking about the show in some detail, so spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen the show, I go ahead and you go watch that right now. I'll wait for you, but if you've already seen it, go ahead and stick around, and let's get right into it. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to talk about is just the tone of the show. It's something not exactly what we're used to as far as these Netflix Marvel series, because if we remember, Daredevil was very dark and gritty, and Jessica Jones is very like dramatic and I guess also dark to an extent. While Luke Cage does have its darker moments because it has to fit with the whole tone of the Netflix series, it is a little bit more lively, more fun. Right off the bat, as soon as they play those titles, we get that feel of the old school Harlem hip hop, and just it's a really fresh feeling, and I really enjoy that. Now we get a real establishment of who Luke Cage is in this series. He's really just the guy who's down out of his luck. He's a fugitive for whatever reason they don't explain in the first episode, and he's just kind of working 2 jobs, getting paid under the table, just trying to make it through. You know, he has this whole relationship with the landlord owner of his apartment, which is kind of, you know, down his neck to make sure he gets paid. One of the things that I found was really funny about the show is that they do remind you that Luke Cage is in the MCU to some extent. There's a scene where Luke Cage is walking down the street and there's this table of a guy selling bootlegs. So I guess this is that part of the town where, you know, everything just, it's just the shadier part where everything just kind of gets sold under the table. And right away, this guy's like, I've got the footage of, you know, from the incident. It's got Tony Stark, the blonde guy with the hammer, the old guy with the shield, and the big green monster. Like, they need to remind you that this is in the MCU, because for some reason, maybe not a lot of people are familiar with the character Luke Cage, but just so you know, this is in the MCU. They do a couple callbacks to the original comic. There's a character whose name Pops who runs this barbershop, which is very barbershop-esque, I guess, the whole Cedric the Entertainer movie style, but he does call Luke Cage Power Man, which if you guys don't know, is the actual name for Luke Cage. So the antagonist of the series is Cottonmouth. He's, you know, he's very villainous. You can tell just the way he walks, he talks, he has that that swagger, that villainous swagger, because, you know, he's from New York. He has that very mafia feel. He owns a club, he has a VIP section, his entourage is with him almost all the time. He's just like, I guess, a good cliche of a villain. But in this episode, he does some kind of weapons, arms deal. And like I said, they really bring it home that this is part of the MCU, because the weapons he's selling are Justin Hammer's tech. Which, you know, it's funny because I didn't think we'd ever hear that name again in the MCU, but I really am glad they brought it back. Another thing I really liked was Turk. I can't remember his name right now, but Turk is a character returning from another series. Not like Rosario Dawson, who has like a key role. He might, he may not. It's just the first episode, but he's the guy from the very first episode from Daredevil, when Daredevil's like freeing those human trafficking girls, and he punches one guy. The last guy he punches, he just runs away. That guy, he comes back, and he's just like a little rat, I guess is the best way I can explain. He's just kind of there to just kind of do living somehow, you know, whatever job you can find, but I just thought it was sweet that he was back. So like I said, during this arms deal, there are 3 characters who actually kind of like mess it up for whatever's going on for both parties, which is actually an inside job, because one of the guys whose name I can't remember is actually like infiltrating the thing and just kind of shoots everybody up and takes the money, which is a pretty big problem. So, you know, they disappear, they run, one of the guys actually betrays one of the 3 guys and shoots him dead. He snitches the other 2 out, and our main antagonist is just kind of like, I need my money. So the Cottonmouth actually manages to find one of them. His name is Shamik, I believe, and I think this is really the part of the show where you really feel what kind of villain Cottonmouth is going to be. He does that whole, you know, look at my Biggie picture. You know what draws your attention to it? The crown, and they do this really cool shot where he walks up 2 feet and the crown's on his head by forced perception, whatever it's called. But like at this moment, you really get a feeling for what kind of villain Cottonmouth's gonna be. There's a moment where he tells the guy, "Tell me where your other friend is with the money," but he refuses. So he just throws him on the floor and just wails on him till he's dead. And like, whoa, it just reminds you that these shows, they do like their blood. So I assume that another way Cottonmouth actually makes his money is by, you know, extortion, I guess, protection. You know, that kind of thing where the mob's like, we'll keep you safe if you pay us money. So like 5 or 6 of Cottonmouth's goons go to the Chinese restaurant and they're just like, hey, you need to pay up and stuff, give us the money. And, you know, they're just like, you know, we can't, we're not gonna do this, isn't right, we already gave you guys money, blah, 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 blah. And that's when Luke Cage comes in like, yo, I don't like the way you talking to them. And, you know, they're 5 goons, they don't know who Luke Cage is, so they just assume he's just like some tough guy trying to be tough. And they're just like, you know, laughing the way goons do. And they're, I guess supposedly there's like, of the 5, one of the stronger guys. He's like, hey man, why don't you mess up this fool? And that's where we get the really cool shot from the trailer where the guy punches Luke Cage in the jaw and like the fist shatters and the bone comes out. It's pretty gross, but it's also pretty cool. Like I said, it does establish that Luke Cage is a rock, is a stone. You can't hurt this guy. So he beats them up, and you know, one of the guy runs away. Who knows? He's like, I don't even like these guys. Ah! But the landlords, you know, they're like, hey, thanks a lot, here's some money. And he's like, hey, but I'm the one that owes you money. And then she goes, well, we'd like to hire you. Which I think is kind of funny because, you know, Luke Cage is kind of in the whole heroes for hire thing, which, like, again, is probably another throwback to it. But yeah, Luke Cage is like, I'm not for hire. You know, I got you. And that ends the whole episode. I mean, it's a pretty good, solid first episode. I've never been drawn into a show like the one for Luke Cage. Honestly, every first episode I have gotten from these Netflix series is just top notch, so I'd expected nothing less. And honestly, I think we have a very good season ahead of us. So if for some reason you didn't watch the first episode because you weren't quite sure to invest your time for about an hour and you decided to watch this quick little video about, you know, maybe that's way shorter than an hour, to see if you're willing to invest your time, I honestly recommend you go watch Luke Cage. So if you like the first episode of Luke Cage and you like the way I reviewed it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because if you hit that subscribe button, you'll be updated with more reviews for the show, which I will be doing, you know, maybe throughout the week, maybe every other week, because, you know, it's Netflix, it's really dangerous to binge watch. You gotta pace yourself. So yeah, go ahead and leave me a comment down below what you thought of the show, if you've already seen it, and just tell me what your favorite part was, your favorite scene, maybe your favorite line. Leave it in the comments down below, and maybe, just maybe, if it's really good enough, if I really enjoy it, or maybe if you're the only one, whatever, I'll definitely, you know, give you a shout out on the next episode. But like, as always guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.